Hi, I'm John from WorkshopAddict.com. Recently I just got my first lathe. It's a Nova 1624 lathe. It's awesome. I'm having a ball learning how to turn things, and one of the first projects I tried was bottle stoppers, wine bottle stoppers. I bought this metal bottom and started turning the tops. I know there's a ton of videos out there, but I want to show you this one in particular, at least this design, a Celtic knot design. It's a fun project to do. It takes a little bit more time than a regular bottle stopper, but it really adds a nice little feature to it. So this one was made out of purple heart and walnut or maple, and this maple I got I don't really care for. It's really soft and it wants to tear out. So we're going to try it with ash this time. So now we're going to go over to the saw and cut some thin strips to start off with. One thin strip out of this ash piece. Over here at the miter saw is where we're going to be making our cuts so we can add the ash to this piece. I have the miter saw set up at a 31.6 degree angle, and that's because I have a detent there, but this is what I've been using, and it actually turns out pretty well. I put a little stop block here and I leave it on my miter saw until I'm done with this project, because this will make sure that you have a cut in the same place. We're going to end up rotating this 90 degrees and making multiple cuts. So leave this here so you'll have a place to reference. I'm using the hold down here just because I don't want this to move at all. When we glue it back up with the angle, it makes it tough to clamp and glue, and you don't want to have anything off. So I'm going to hold it down, make sure nothing moves. Here's my clamping and gluing setup. Since we have a 31.6 degree angle cut on this, when you try to put a clamp on it, your pieces are going to want to slide apart, and you want to keep this as square as possible. We're going to straighten it up on the joiner when we're done, but you don't want to have too much to take off of it. So I put this clamp it square down. I use this for a lot of things. Put it to my table and it's nice and tight. Next I want to put the small piece so the angle's going out. This way when it clamps it's going to want to slide that direction. But we're going to hold that one in place with another clamp, and that'll hold it against the square. We take our ash piece, we're going to put it there, put our other piece there, our long piece, which is going to want to slide that way, and the square is going to prevent that from happening. You know, of course we're going to put our glue on it. And then we take a nice parallel clamp or a pipe clamp, whatever you have, and we are going to clamp it as straight as we can. So if all goes well, everything's going to stay square. Your small piece will stay that way, your large piece will stay that way, and your ash piece will be stuck in. Then you just let it dry overnight and set up. One of the members on the forum board suggested taking blue painter's tape to hold it together, and I'm pretty sure that would work, but I haven't tried it yet. So this is a setup I got. It's very repeatable, and we'll go from there. Now that our piece is glued up and it's solid, we are going to take it out of the clamp, take it over to the bandsaw or anything else you might want to use, a pole saw or something like that. We're going to cut this off, and then we are going to clean these edges up. It stayed pretty square. We're going to clean it up on the joiner, and then we'll take it back to the miter saw. Got everything squared back up. We're at the miter saw again, and you can see that this is the path that we cut last time. We still have our stop block in here. Now what we're going to do is rotate this 90 degrees. We're going to make another cut and then go through the same processes again that we just did. After that we'll come back, we'll rotate it another 90 degrees and put another cut in. Do the same steps over again. Then we'll rotate it one more 90 degree and put our last one in. So let's go ahead and put the next cut in right now. just finished up with the fourth glue up, and after you're done, this is the pattern you're going to see all the way around. It's going to be an X with a line above them and a line below. Before you go any further, just a little tip. When you're gluing this down, if it's on a work surface, make sure you put down some wax paper or some cellophane or something like that, because I left mine there a little too long, and when I went to pick it up the next day, it took a little chunk of the table out and it's stuck right here. So glue bonds are very unforgiving if they get hard. Next, what we have to do is drill a hole in the direct center of your blank here. And the reason for it is when you take your little metal stopper, end of the stopper, that's where it's going to screw into. But you also want to make sure this is straight. You don't want to have it cockeyed off to an angle, because once you get it on the lathe, it's going to wobble. That's what's going to go in. The mandrel is going to go into the hole that you drill. So I was drilling this on my drill press for a while, and I got one of them just cockeyed just enough that it was a complete headache. And then my father-in-law showed me a little trick. What we're going to do is take our Supernova 2 chuck here, and I am going to chuck in, put the blank in the jaws. We're going to tighten her up. We're going to go ahead and put this over there on the lathe, and instead of having the live center, we are going to put, I got the chuck out of my drill press. It just knocks it out. Read your manual if you have one. I think it's a number 2 taper. And we're going to put this in where your live center typically goes. We're going to put this on the lathe, spin it, and then we're basically going to drive the drill bit directly into this other end. 1 inch deep. I believe it's a 5/64. I'll write that down. I can't remember what size drill bit this is. But we're going to drill a hole directly in the center here, and then I'll show you what to do next. Now over here at the lathe, we are going to stick the chuck in from the drill press and move this up close to the workpiece. We'll lock that down, turn it on, and now we're just going to dial the drill bit into it. I have a piece of tape on there basically telling us where 1 inch is. We want to be able to drill in about 1 inch into this piece of wood. Alright, now that we're dialed out, we found our center on this workpiece, and what we're going to do next is take this piece out of the chuck, remove the jaws, put the mandrel on, and reattach this to the mandrel. As you can see, we have the jaws removed from the chuck, and I want to show you a little tip. Here's the mandrel. When I was at Woodcraft the other day, one of the gentlemen there told me that getting bottle stoppers off the mandrel can be difficult. So what he suggested was taking a piece of super light cardboard, like something you'd find in a, maybe a cereal box or something, and sticking it over the end. This kind of gives it a washer, and it keeps the wood from getting stuck on there too tight. So now we're going to put our mandrel in and tighten it up in the chuck. Alright. We're going to take our little center there and put it screwed onto the mandrel. Once that's done, we're going to bring our live center up to it. So now we're chucked up, ready to go. Now we're ready to rough out our blank. I have a tool rest set. It spins freely, it's not hitting anything. A smaller tool rest would probably be better in this situation. This is where it's kind of cool, because after we rough this out, we're going to go from this square X pattern to the Celtic knot design is going to show up. So let's give it a whirl. See, we're starting to get there. You may notice now that I got this rounded, it's a little bit shorter, and that is just because I realized I had a 4-inch long blank on here. It's too long. So I cut it off to 3 inches, and now we're going to go ahead and make the bottle stop. Unfortunately, yesterday when I was filming this bottle stopper video, my camera was not on for the end of it. I thought it was, and then the battery died, so I ended up missing the end part of that. So I created another bottle stopper, and I'm just going to show you how I finished it up. First, we're going to take a piece of wire, and we are going to burn in these grooves that I cut with the skew. Keep the wire there for a while. It'll heat up, and you'll actually feel it go to your fingers, but this is a great way to make those little lines stand out and give them some color. It's easy to do. I'm just hold my hand over here so you can see it a little better. I'm just putting it in the groove, and that cleans out that little slot and burns it. So just that simple. I like doing that on bottle stoppers. It makes it look, gives us some character. Next, we're going to actually do a finish. Next step here may be what I consider the most fun. This is where you get the most satisfaction. A lot of people use super glue, and I haven't tried it yet. Right now I'm just using a friction polish, and it's really simple to use. It's basically a wax and an oil mixed together. You got to shake it up, and what you do is, well, first you want to protect your bed so it doesn't get all dirty. You want to take your friction wax polish and soak your workpiece with it. Get it all on here. And next thing you want to do is take a paper towel, fold it a few times, and you're just going to hold it on here. What it's going to do is it's going to drive the oil in and melt the wax on top of it, and it's going to give just this beautiful shine. Lathe and the turning speed do your friction for you. It's just that fast, and you get a coat on there. We're going to put 3 or 4 coats. I guess you can put as many as you want. It builds up on each other, but I've been putting 3 or 4. One thing I wanted to mention, I had that turning a little too slow on the finished portion there, so I've turned the speed up. Yeah, the faster you got it going, the more friction it creates and the glossier it gets. So we're going to go ahead and do our final coat on it. One thing I wanted to mention, when you go ahead and do this part of the project, make sure you're using a paper towel rather than a rag. Don't use a rag. If the rag ever gets caught on the jaws of the chuck or any of these rotating pieces on the lathe, it can cause you some problems. If you use a paper towel, it'll just tear up. Alright, there's our finished bottle stopper, and we're going to go ahead and put the bottom on it and call her done. Well, to finish up the project, there's just one simple step left. You take your bottle stopper kit and put it together, which is usually just some piece of rubber sealer, gasket, slip her on, and if you still have threads left, you can just put it on, but I had a catch in it while I was turning it, so it pulled out all the threads on the wood. So what you can do is just really simple, is take some super glue, fill that hole with some super glue. I'm using some super glue gel. Might be out just enough, and what you can do then is take your bottle stopper, stick it in the hole, and let the super glue set, and they'll be done. As I said, this is a really nice, easy project for somebody new to turning like myself. I was a little intimidated. Where should I start? Simple, easy projects, small pieces of wood. They look beautiful when you're done with them. And again, here's what the stopper turned out like yesterday. Even though I didn't have the camera running anymore, it finished it up. But I like this Celtic bottle stopper. It actually gives it some character. I've had lots of compliments on it, and I'm just new at wood turning, so if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks. Sorry about not having this project all the way through, but sometimes it happens. I'm John from WorkshopAddict.com. Talk to you later.